See, that also did not pass council. So now we are trying, because we're not going to give up. We're going to continue pushing this issue. So now we're trying a different version, which is a safe outdoor space out at the Gateway West. And so this is something that folks have wanted for a long time. We tested it during COVID. It was actually very well received for a number of reasons. And so in our budget, which is now being debated this week and next week at council, we have put in funding to create a safe outdoor space at the Gateway West. That is what, it's not a fancy rendering because it's not a fancy thing. It's restrooms, it's shower accessibility, and it's essentially pad sites for tents. And so this is going to be hopefully our largest and next safe outdoor space, which is going to be out at Gateway West. And we're here because this is where that original hub and spoke starts. So people may come here and then end up at the safe outdoor space, or they may be at the safe outdoor space and then come here so they can actually get in longer processing for housing. And so this is going to be the next phase, the Gateway Safe Outdoor Space that we're doing out at Gateway West. Now, the city has already put together the funding to do this. So we're going to start leveling the area, cleaning it up, and getting it ready. But what is in this budget that now is in council hands is funding to operate this. This is absolutely critical because we know that the gateway system is near capacity. It is not at capacity. We still have dozens of beds every night available for folks. But we know we have to have more as our whole state and our whole community deals with the challenges around the unhoused and also around addiction and behavioral and mental health. And so this is really important to giving us an additional option for folks, especially because a lot of folks we offer help to say no. But we know that they would say yes if it was a safe outdoor space. And so that's why we're doing this now as part of the budget process. So I'm going to hand it over to Gilbert Ramirez to talk a little bit more about this. I do want to mention that all this next 10 days, we are going to be talking about important things in the budget. And so stay tuned because you're going to hear every couple of days another piece of critical needs for the city that is in the budget. And of course, we're doing that because the budget is going to be voted on at council and folks need to know, the public needs to know really what's in there and what's helpful for our community. And so this one is front and center. So with that, here's our Health and Housing Director, Gilbert Ramirez.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, I should say. I'm Gilbert Ramirez, the Director for Health, Housing, Homelessness. I appreciate y'all being here. So yeah, to address this issue, you know, in 2024, when I stepped in as director, we did a strategic capital improvement plan for Gateway West to really look at how can we maximize utilization of that facility and what could be add-ons. One of the concept designs we had in there was a padded area with security to be able to do safe outdoor space. What we've learned is that when you're doing this type of work, the amount of options and entry points you have for the community and those who are unhoused are important. Some folks are not necessarily in a place that they're going to be willing to go into a large congregate setting, especially if they're dealing with high levels of anxiety and or other issues. And so we still wanted to have options available for them to enter into a safe area in which they're not exposed to not only the streets, the community, other safety issues that might happen in which they're being preyed on or perpetrated on, and what could we offer as an expansion. So that design is what you'll see here. We are looking at adding this to the West facility as the next phase. We've already have the architectural design to really look at how do we accommodate not only individual males, individual females, but as well as couples, right? And so that design is something that we've learned through the Gateway Center, in which we have various options and entry points for individuals who are seeking this. You hear a pet in the background. It's important that we have understanding as to how do we integrate pets and lower those barriers for people for access. So a little bit of details around the area site and development right where we are now. We're looking at the plot of land and what we'll have as tent spaces. We're also looking at having plumb water and power and electricity. We've identified a shower trailer, a bathroom trailer that's going to be on site, an administrative trailer for the coordination of services for the operator, a security area as well, and of course fencing that will allow them to have their privacy and separation. The location site's very important because ultimately our goal is that when they are ready to actually come into the facility for the larger shelter, that there are transitional options and it's also very close and available to that space. So the reason behind it and the location is really around connecting the services and what other add-on services can we do with the campus that we have out there to make it fully attentive to the needs of those who are unhoused and are challenged in accepting the services. Our ACS director will speak a little bit about the street outreach efforts and what you see and what some of those complex challenges are. But in reality, again, this initiation of this project for a safe outdoor space goes to, we've launched one successfully with New Creations Church. They have about 10 tent areas with Pastor Jesse Harden, sorry. And so we've learned a lot, and he shared a lot of lessons with our team as to what is the success he's seeing and what integrated services are they putting into that. And so we appreciate that partnership, because with that, we're designing ours to be the same. Through the creation of our policies, what are the priority areas that we have to have, security features as well to make sure that folks are safe. And then, of course, what is the transition option for them out of that if they're ready to enter into our other system. So happy to speak a little bit more to the design if there's follow-up questions after that. But with that, let me go ahead and pivot over to the collaboration that really is necessary to do this and make this successful with ACS and their outreach team. Director Jody.
I'm going to move this just a little bit. Everybody is nice and tall before me. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jody Escobar. I'm the director of Albuquerque Community Safety. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Director. ACS, for those not completely familiar, have respond to 911 emergency calls in behavioral health. So we have the fire department, the police department, and we have Albuquerque Community Safety. What is amazing about the evolution of Albuquerque Community Safety is we have a street outreach element here that has really been shining bright recently for the really strong work that they're doing by case situation with our unsheltered population. And so what that looks like is really peeling back the layers of each person's story. And this safe outdoor space allows us a new option to help folks transition from the streets to somewhere that might not be as the director said is such a contrast to what they're used to. This nice transition pivot point, we feel like a lot of people will be able to take us up on this option. We think this is an amazing offer for our community to be able to help transition into services. ACS had a record-breaking year as far as transports go. Last year, we transported over 4,000 people. So what that tells us as the city, as our initiatives that we have, our partnerships and our services being offered, is that people do want to accept help and shelter and options. And so as we continue to expand services as this initiative, we foresee that people will continue to accept the help. So we're thankful for the partnership, thankful for the initiative, and thankful for us not giving up as a city to figure out and really cater to the care of each individual out on the street and finding what's going to work best for our community. And that's what's really important here. So happy to answer any additional questions, but thankful for the space.
And with that, do we have any questions for any of the speakers today? Madison?
Like Keller mentioned, we do see a lot of people turn down help. Why do we think this is another thing that they actually are going to take us up?
You want to take that, Twitter?
All right, quickly the question, how does this actually encourage folks to actually accept that offer and or space? And so I appreciate that. Ultimately people have free will to decide what they wish to do with their lives. Our job as a city is to be able to be prepared for them. They're at that point of acceptance or change, that we have the right option for them. We cannot force people into it, but what we can do is making sure that we have the entry points designed specifically for the person's situation in that time. And so our goal is to push forward with this. We know outdoor camping is an area that folks aren't quite ready to live or give up, right? Some folks will always live, as we say, under the stars. But what we want to do is be able to say, would you be okay with accepting that in an area that's controlled with services and, of course, security? And so, again, we can't say necessarily that folks are going to change their opinion, but we feel that when people are at that change point, that window is very small. And what we want to be able to do is say, hey, we have the right entry point for you, and this might be the right entry point for a certain population of individuals.
Are there going to be any, I know when you guys were trying to create the safe outdoor spaces, there were some restrictions that some places that they had to leave by like 7 in the morning. Are they going to be able to stay here all day, or is it kind of a scenario where they have to leave and come back at night?
Thank you. Yes. So I had mentioned earlier that we've learned a lot from the Safe Outdoor Space in partnership with New Creations Church. Those policies are being reviewed, and they're sharing them with us. So as we're staging this up, we're developing those as far as what are the best practices, what are the time frames they can be there. I think there's always a component around when you have wraparound as to what does your day look like and what is a priority for you. A lot of that is driven by the individual person, where for them it's just stabilization for a moment and breathing. And then, okay, I might be ready to look at, do I need documents that are important to me because I need my benefits re-enrolled? Am I ready to engage in certification program, employment, workforce, right? That's a process that takes time, and we develop our policies around that to be able to address the issue of like, how long will it be open? Where will they be able to stay? How will meals be provided? So all of that is in our development phase right now as we're working with another provider who's already shown some success. I've spoken directly actually with the clinical agency that's doing the case management. They've shared some wonderful ideas as to really what is it the population needs. So we're putting all that together to be able to bring in an operator to oversee that and kind of create that environment. So more details to come. I know that doesn't answer specifically like 9 or 7, but it's in the development with the creation and understanding of the population we wish to serve.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, is there going to be any type of criteria for who can be there? I mean, is it you have to no drugs, no alcohol, stuff like that? Will that be required for people to come in here?
Yeah, so we want to be as low barrier as possible. So I'm not going to say that anyone has to come in that doesn't have a current use issue. There are some rules and regulations around can you have those items within this facility and how you do it. And so we've done that with these facilities, and yet we still have occupancy at almost maximum levels, right? So one, I believe structure is important, and also setting the expectation up that if we're going to support you in a full wraparound, what are the gives and takes? So we do want to be clear. Low barrier is important for entry, but there has to be some limitations around what can be actually in the site and with you at that time as we support you in your journey forward. Yeah.
How many people will say
Yeah. So, thank you. So right now we're looking at we're playing with the idea of anywhere from 30 to maybe 50 tent pads. It's going to be dependent upon the space and the size. Conceptually, you'll see here that we've tried to identify a smaller scale right now, and then see if we need something larger. Again, the goal is to have safe areas that aren't overwhelming, right? I mentioned the anxiety that comes with large congregate settings for certain individuals. We don't want to create that, but we do want to have a transitional area for them to enter into. So at now, our conceptual, we've thought of everything from as low as 15 on up to 50 and what we can do within that space.
Any other questions?
I do have a question for the mayor. Does this come after the ordinance where people can't sleep on the sidewalks and anything like that, or was this already in plan before that?
Good question. No, this was sent down as part of our budget that we sent down, I think it was now at this point 6 weeks ago. And so that's when it really became official and when council became aware of it. So these are unrelated, but for us, I think it is a important point. This is what we should be focused on, right? We have to offer people a range of alternatives so that we don't have the argument of whether they should stay on the sidewalk or not. They have somewhere to go. That's what's really important. That's what our administration is focused on.
And can you just clarify? So it's not open, right? Yeah. Is that correct, or am I?
No, it's under construction, and so we have funding to build it, but then we need funding to operate it, and that's what's in the operating budget that we send down to council.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.